Clearer numbers on the federal workforce are coming into view. That's with the Office of Personnel Management's major update to one of its largest data assets, FedScope. The now renamed Federal Workforce Data website aims to deliver information faster and with more frequent updates. Here with more details is Federal News Network's Drew Friedman. Drew, great to have you this morning.
Good to be with you, Terry.
All right, tell us about this data project. FedScope was around for a long time, so how long has OPM been working on its replacement?
Well, if we look back to a report from 10 years ago from the Government Accountability Office, they recommended at the time that OPM update FedScope and improve the availability of federal workforce data. Now, a decade later, of course, we're seeing that recommendation start to pay off from OPM. This is an effort that we know has been going on at least since the final couple years of the Biden administration. It's something that they talked about as a long-term goal to update FedScope and really just overhaul that entire data asset from OPM. We saw then over the summer last year, OPM under the Trump administration announced plans that it was going to very soon relaunch FedScope with more quick enhancements that they were looking at. So now we're seeing the result of this project, which has been at least a couple years in the making. It's a public-facing website where anyone can go in and filter workforce data based on geographic location, agency, education level, bargaining unit status. There's a ton of data here, and they're doing it in a way where it's a lot easier for someone who's not a data expert to use and to understand some of this information that, while was available on FedScope initially, is much easier to see now.
With the rollout here at the beginning of 2026, is it capturing the recent changes in the federal workforce that happened across the year in 2025?
Absolutely. This is one of the key updates that we've seen from OPM with this launch. If you were looking at the FedScope, the old FedScope website before this new update, you were seeing information from September of 2024 and then a few raw data sets from March of 2025. But for a lot of last year, there was some guesswork involved in how many federal employees left the government, just going on OPM's word that, there were this many employees who left, this many who joined. But now we're seeing information up to November of 2025. So capturing the better part of the year and seeing that really just confirmation of what we've known for a long time. The federal workforce lost over 320,000 employees over the course of the year, and accounting for some level of hiring as well. That means there's been a net decrease of 220,000 federal employees since President Trump took office. Not necessarily a new number in itself, but seeing that against the historical data on OPM's website now, we're seeing staffing levels at least a decade low. So it's quite significant there.
There's also new data on bargaining unit status. What did those numbers show?
We've seen this change pretty significantly as well over the course of 2025. Of course, this comes back to President Trump's orders for most agencies to cancel their collective bargaining agreements. And that action has made a lot more federal employees ineligible to join a bargaining unit. So what we've seen with the new data platform is that union bargaining unit status dropped from about 56% to 38%, so an 18% decline over the course of 2025. And at the same time, there's been a 20% increase in ineligibility for a bargaining unit. So we're really seeing those numbers flip between those who can be in a union and those who cannot for the federal workforce. So again, this is just another way where we're seeing data to back up essentially what we've known for a long time, that these things have changed quite significantly during the first year of the Trump administration.
One of the other topics that's certainly been a data question over the past year is who's eligible for telework and remote work. Does this new database have data on that, and what does it say?
Not as much in the eligibility question, but there is data on telework and remote work hours. So what we're seeing there is a 75% drop in in the number of hours that employees are performing either on telework or remote work. And that's, of course, due to President Trump's return to office orders in early 2025. Essentially, there is some question around the data on telework and remote work, and that's something that I believe we've talked about before as well, is that it's not captured by all agencies in the same way. Sometimes it can be inaccurate or incomplete data. There was, for example, a recent GAO report just a couple weeks ago on how telework and remote work at the Department of Defense, those records are incomplete. So, even though OPM has this data and it's pulling that data from different agencies, we may not be seeing the complete or completely accurate picture of what those work hours look like. But it's definitely trending in that direction of just dropping off pretty significantly again.
Drew, it sounds like as you've looked at the numbers, they seem to reconcile with about what you'd expect. Does the data show anything about workforce composition and demographic data?
There is some demographic data available, so we can look at the age of the federal workforce. That's, of course, been a question for a long time, is how do you get more early career employees into government when we know that there is an aging federal workforce? The median age, as OPM's data shows, is 47, and 13.5% of the entire federal workforce right now is eligible to retire, according to OPM's data. So those are trends that we have been hearing about for a long time, but just to really see that data, is a different way to look at it. However, that is one demographic that is available from OPM's data, but we know that there's also some that is missing. We don't see any data on this website relating to race or ethnicity of federal employees. That is something that we know OPM does collect from agencies, and it's something that is tracked. But because there was an executive order from President Trump to essentially eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, it seems like that demographic data was kind of caught up in that executive order and is not available to the public as of now. So there is at least some missing information elements on OPM's website, but generally what they're trying to do here and what their press release says is they're trying to just add a lot more transparency, and they're going to try to update all of this on a monthly basis.
So, Drew, that update feature is a new facet. Are there other things that you'll be looking for as this database matures?
Definitely. There's a lot of ways that you can dig into the data here. You can look at geographic location. You can look at age. So maybe that's a good example to look into. OPM has talked about wanting to hire more early career talent, especially in the technology space. So there will be ways over time as we look at monthly updates to see, how many IT specialists, how many data specialists are joining the federal workforce at what agencies, and compare that against the age of those employees. So it'll be really easy to go back and check, that data on, is OPM or is the Trump administration meeting some of these goals that they have laid out in terms of recruitment and retention. So that's one way that I'll definitely be looking into it.
That's Federal News Network's Drew Friedman. Drew, thanks for scratching our data itch this morning.
Thank you, Terry.
You can find her story at federalnewsnetwork.com.